All right, so Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, which simply means may the peace, blessing, and mercy of God be upon all God's people. Okay, uh, so this morning I wanna start off by reading just a few verses from the Quran. It's coming from chapter 2 or Surah 2. The name of that surah is Surah Al-Baqarah, okay, or the cow. I'm gonna read it in Arabic and then I'm gonna read the translation in English. So it begins. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Alif lam mim. Dhalikal kitabu la rayb fihi hudan lil muttaqin. Alladhina yu'minuna bil ghaibi wa yuqimuna salata wa mimma razaqnahum yunfiqun. Okay, and then I'm gonna stop there. Yeah, that is the end of verse number 4, and that's where I wanted to stop at. So in the English, it's translated in the name of God, most compassionate, most merciful. Okay, and then the title of this particular section is the qualities of the believers, and it begins with the mystical letters, Alif Lam Mim. And we'll get into the mystical letters in another lesson. But that's the first verse, is the mystical letters, Alif Lam Mim. And it goes, this is the book. There is no doubt about it. A guide for those mindful of God, who believe in the unseen, establish prayer, and donate from what we have provided for them, and who believe in what has been revealed to you, O Muhammad, and what was revealed before you, and have sure faith in the hereafter. It is they who are truly guided by their Lord, and it is they who will be successful. And then you go down into the footnote, and footnote number 3, it explains a specific Arabic word, and that word is al-mutaki, right? And it say the word mutaki, or plural, mutakun, can be translated as one who is mindful of God, devout, pious, God-fearing, righteous, or God-conscious. Okay? Excuse me, because I'm trying to read through the actual phone. But the reason why I chose them verses, because like I said, I've been doing a little reading lately. So I ran across another book, and it's this book here called Living Presence, the Sufi Path of Mindfulness and the Essential Self. Okay? By Kabir Helminski. And the Sufi teachings of Islam, that school of thought, that school of philosophy, that school of learning, it deals with the inner self, of the Muslim mindset. And this particular book, that's what it's talking about. Al-Mutakun, Al-Mutaki, though being in a state of awareness or consciousness, what we call in Arabic taqwa, those who are taqwa, and in most books we read, it describes taqwa as being, God conscious, being aware of God, or being God fearing, right? But when you take it a step further, to be taqwa, to truly be taqwa, is to be aware, to be conscious of God's presence at all times. And that's basically what this particular book here is speaking of. It's speaking of, that spiritual dimension of consciousness, of that God-centered mindset, where it's like you live every moment of your life in the presence of God. You know what I'm saying? And it's just that when you approach life with that type of understanding, with that type of awareness, it just opened a whole new dimension of reality. When you actually begin to live your life, in the presence of God. And I was thinking about earlier this morning when I went to get my coffee, the first time that, I smoked a cigarette in front of my daddy. It was like, when a child do something in the presence of the parent, right? Sometimes you doing something wrong, but it's just a certain way that you're gonna do it, where you still got a little bit of apprehension, in your heart, because you don't really know what the outcome is. So you do it in such a way where you testing the waters to see if it's gonna work, to see if you can get by with it, And it's like, it's the same way with our relationship with God, man. You always want to please God, and it's just for the mind of the Muslim, it's a little different, because, in the initial phase of our journey, when you come into Islam, you come in submission. So fighting for submission, it's not, it's like, that's 12th grade to somebody else, but to you it's first grade. You know what I'm saying? Or to you is 12th grade, but to them it's first grade, because you done already passed that stage of development, and now you entering into a new aspect, that new grade where, like I'm saying, you becoming aware that your life is being lived in the presence of God. So because you becoming aware of that, you always want to please God. You want to do things that, bring, just the soothing mercy of God into your life. You don't want to make God angry. You don't want to make God displeased. You don't want to disappoint God, So, I mean, it all ties back to the other book that I talked about yesterday, where I spoke briefly on, the Navajo concept of we. Coming out of that, egotistical, self-centered self into, looking at ourselves from a new perspective of being a part of the overall collective. Now, as we, transcend from that one stage of being the individual self to being a collective self,